Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, everyone. Cool. So it looks like we have the recording going, the note taking going as well. And we're going to wait a minute or two to, allow people to join, and we'll get started in a minute. All right. Hey, Karim. All right. People are still joining. So once that stabilizes, we'll get started. Yes, Karim? Cool. Let's get this started. So welcome everybody to Stateless Implementers Call number 40. So we actually skipped the last one because lots of people were away, and then it was overlapping with another call, but we are doing this one. So the agenda has been shared, and we are starting with team updates. So whoever would like to go first, you can go for it.
I guess I'll start. I'll go. Oh, Karen wanted to go. Please, please.
Okay. Could you hear me? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I was working on the implementation of the binary tree with Thomas. So integrated this implementation on Bezu. We fixed several issues. Normally we have a node that can follow Hoodie. So it's a fork of the Hoodie network, but we are just creating new block and trying to compute a state root with the binary tree. We are not validating the binary tree, but just to know if we can manage the rollback, etc. So for the moment, it's working. Sometimes we are finding some issues. We are trying to fix them, but in general, it's working. I also used some tests generated by by Guillaume. So it's just simple test, but just to verify that the basic logic is working correctly to insert some leaf in the tree and verify if we have the same state root as get. So for the moment, this small number of tests are working correctly. And in parallel, I'm also trying to do a transition with the binary tree. So I started also a node on a shadow fork of Hoodie, doing a transition. And yes, the same for the moment. It's working. Sometimes I have some issues, so I have to restart. But for the moment, it's working. And I also had some performance issues during the transition because the amount of leave was too big. So I implemented some optimization to do all of the transition logic between two blocks, not waiting for the block in order to do that. And now it's better. It's not perfect, but it's clearly better. In general, the blocks are taking 300 milliseconds, sometimes 200 milliseconds, but yeah, it's better than before. And there is still a room of optimization that we can do. So yeah, for the moment, it's all the stuff we did on Bezos side. Yeah.
I'll
Good.
go next.
Thanks a lot, Karim. Yeah, Guillaume.
Sorry. Yeah, so we managed to get some stuff merged into Geth, so yay. There's still a lot of work to do, but the transition itself is next. So hopefully, whatever testnet gets created, we'll be able to join it. Maybe not from the start, but hopefully at some point. And there was something else. Yeah, so there's a few things that are going to be merged next, including the binary trees. So like Karim said, I started creating a document that I will actually, it's not on the agenda yet, but I would like to add it at the end just to talk about it very briefly. It's a document explaining showing the tests, describing tests that you can do to verify that you get the same route as Geth and Besu, because yeah, Besu is passing them too. So that's the few things. Otherwise, Carlos is not here today, so we're still just gonna give a very short BlockNet update. We're still so we reached the size that is twice the size of mainnet, and now we're proceeding with writing the tests. There's a document with the test that has been published. If I can find it, I will share it now. Yeah, so if you can think of more tests, please add them to this document that I'm currently sharing. I hope it's the right one. It's the right one. And yeah, we are going to start writing those tests. I mean, Carlos did start writing them, but we're going to continue this week while he's gone. There's more stateless consensus updates to do with code chunky analysis, but that's for Wayhan to that's for Han to report them. That's it.
I think I can go next. So on Nethermind side, we finished our work with transition, but on local trees. I was working properly, but was like quite underperforming. So recently we did a lot of refactoring on the client on how we handle state, and now it's much easier to implement the transition with binary trees. So and we have not worked on stateless for a while now on Nethermind. I'm off next week, and after that I'll be starting to work on like the binary tree implementation.
Nice, thanks. Anyone else would like to give team updates?
Yeah, I can give mine as well on the state expiry, and just like Gil mentioned, code chunking as well. So I think a few weeks back, I presented the results in I think last call or the last two calls, but there were some minor changes on the results. So basically, we increased the sample size, but the conclusion still remains the same. So basically, the proportion of bytes and chunks utilization is very low. So that means that if we ever do code chunking, it would achieve the benefit that we hope to achieve. But if anyone wants to like read the whole thing again, here's the document. Yeah, and I've also been working on analyzing the state access patterns on mainnet. So I'll publish an article as soon as possible, but there were a few interesting discoveries. For example, I found out that half of the EOA and contract accounts were only accessed up to 4 to 5 days, and 70% of the total storage slots were only accessed once in a single block. So so there were other discoveries which I'll publish in the article, but this data basically strongly suggests that if you ever want to do some form of state expiry or even some other forms of temporary storage on the protocol level, I think it would be somewhat impactful, at least on the state side of things. Yeah, and then on the side of state expiry, I'm currently benchmarking the naive pruning method in Geth, and I'll also perform the same thing in other EL clients. So yeah, that's all from my side.
Great. Thanks for the update and thanks for sharing the link in the chat. So yeah, I think that completes these updates, unless someone else has something to say. All right, looking good. So number 2 on the agenda, and Guillaume, I added as a 5th point the thing that you mentioned with testing documentation, by the way. The new testnet is 2nd on the agenda. I'm not sure who is driving that, but I've put it on because it was requested last time.
So on the Bezos side, so as binary tree is for the moment is moving forward, I think maybe at the end of the month, I think it will be okay. We also implemented some EAPs that was missing, not some modification regarding the gas cost, something that was implemented on Get and not on Bezos, so we did also this modification. So I think maybe, maybe in 1 week I will be able to share a Docker image of Bezu working with binary tree, maybe normally with all of the configuration. So like that we'll be able maybe to start a testnet with Bezu. And it should be, maybe I think in 1 week it should be okay. If I didn't find any more issues and if everything is working correctly, I think it should be good.
Awesome. That's some exciting progress. Good job.
Yeah.
Anything else on the testnet point, Guillaume?
Right. I mean, just repeating. So yes, first of all, very good job, Karim, on this work. I think Bezu is going to be leading the work on this one. Like I did say, we have merged some PRs and guests, but I don't think we'll be ready in a week. So I think Bezu should take the place of that Geth has used for every virtual testnet, or at least every one I can think of, and just be the lead on that. And Geth will try to catch up. Hopefully, Nethermind will as well. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be very hard for Geth to be ready this month. Although it's looking a bit better, but still far. One question I had though is about the thing we've discussed. I think that was last call or 2 calls with Felix, which was about changing the behavior of system contracts / system addresses. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was about saying as soon as you call a system contract, we don't record anything. Sorry, as soon as you make a call from a system address, we don't record anything. Did you guys implement this in Bezu?
Karen, you're muted in case you were speaking.
Yeah, sorry. Could you repeat again? Sorry.
Sure. I don't know if you remember, but a few calls back, maybe last one, the Felix from Geth was there, and we talked about how to handle system contracts or system calls. And we agreed to change the spec. There hasn't been an update to the spec in the EIP yet, because they're still in the background. There's a 4762 revamp that is very complicated and taking a lot of time. But maybe I should go ahead and edit the current EIP with the right wording. But the idea is that we would not be as soon as you're calling a system contract, you don't worry. I'm trying to remember the exact details, but yeah, there's a different handling of system contracts. And if I remember correctly, that just means as soon as it's a system call, you don't touch, you don't record anything, and you don't add it to the witness.
I don't think we implemented that. No, I don't think. I need to verify again, but I don't think it's implemented.
Okay. I would have to go back and remember what we agreed, because that was like at least a month
Yeah, because
ago.
I'm not completely sure. Yeah.
But we should, if we do a new testnet, we should enforce this new policy, and also ideally update the 4762. But like I said, 4762 is going to take a bit of time to revamp. So yeah, even though it's not in the spec, we should go ahead and behave the way Felix would like, which is to not. Okay. Honestly, I don't remember the exact details every time. It takes me a few minutes to remember what it was, but the idea is that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Now, if we can just add that in some ACMD like that, we are sure that it will not be interpreted differently in some weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try to write it down.
Maybe in your ACMD that you shared before, but just we're in one place, and we'll try like that to verify if it's like that in Bezu, and we'll be able to confirm it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I think that's pretty much all we want for this new testnet. Apart from the binary tree and that tweak, I think that's all the changes we want for from the previous Verkle testnet.
Good. Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. So, fourth point on the agenda is, I think, you, Guillaume. It's about chunk-based code Merkleization, EIP 2926.
Right. Let me see if I can share my screen. I have a tiny presentation. Yeah. Oh, that's the one. Yes. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah. So I would like to talk about this EIP 2926, which is not completely stateless related. It's only partially stateless related. The context is that it came from a conversation in Berlin between Tomasz, now the executive director of the EF, and myself about how to get Verkle or binary trees shipped. And Tomasz was saying, what's the most important aspect that we could use right away? And I said that would be code chunking, which explains also why Han has been working on this topic recently. So we realized that maybe it's a good idea to try to push in the code chunking aspect first in Glamsterdam. And so I went ahead, because now it's a tradition, I guess, for the stateless effort to go back in the history of abandoned EIPs and resurrect one that was kind of what we wanted and make it our own. So that's the case of 2926. It's code Merkleization. Initially, it's been done by the formerly the Epsilon team, Sina and Axic from the Epsilon team at the time. And the idea is to introduce, it's pretty simple. It's introducing code Merkleization in MPT. This EIP was formerly abandoned. And in the last month and a half, I led an effort that tried to resurrect this EIP, get the approval of the people involved, and see if we can push it for Glamsterdam. This does not preclude working on binary trees or even Verco if it ever comes back in the future for further forks. But the idea is that we could ship it in Amsterdam and at least get that the benefits of having code chunking right away, and then we can work on a tree conversion in a later fork. So this should be just okay. In theory, at least, is just grabbing the code chunking part from Verco or from binary trees and putting it in the MPT, and thereby delivering a lot of the changes that we would have delivered with Verco. So yeah, like Karen just asked and Han answered, the idea would be to use an MPT and so add a new subtree. We keep the 31 byte chunk with 1 byte push data. We presumably, although I would love to get people's opinions on that, we would keep 4762 at least for the code chunking execution part, and we would still require some kind of overlay tree transition. But because there's only about 10 gigabytes of code, the conversion itself could be a lot smaller, which is great because it would be demonstrating that the transition works. It would probably make the life easier, the life of people involved. I mean, all of us involved in delivering stateless Ethereum a lot simpler for a further tree change. I see a question by Karim. The key will be based on code hash, not address hash. No, the key will be based. I mean, I'm going to show the structure in my next slide. So you have two types of EOAs, of accounts. You have the EOA and the contracts. And the EOAs, they don't really change. I mean, they don't change at all. In fact, you still have the nonce, you have the balance, you have the code hash, and you have the storage root. But for contracts, we add 2 extra fields. We have the code size, and this is so that you can directly go and get the code size from the account. This is something that was already mentioned in other EIPs like 7907. That was one of the solutions proposed for some of the issues in 7907. So yeah, I think it's a good one. It's one that we also use in binary trees and Verco trees, so might as well use it. What's interesting is that it's just an extension of the RLP, so it's not a big problem to add this, and it's only for contracts. And then we had another field, which is the code root, and the keys in that MPT are simply the chunk numbers. Except the last one, which is the version. So it's at 2 to the power of 256 minus 1. One thing, yes. So Karim was asking, will they? Okay, it's not directly the question that Karim asked, but it's the keys are not hashed; they're just regular numbers, and the reason for that is because we don't worry about the unbalancing of the tree, because there's still the code size limit, and even if we extend the limit, it's never going to be too imbalanced, and you can't really attack the tree. It's just a sequence of chunks that increase. Of course, I assume this is the question that will come later. Can we somehow, because every account that has the same code, like 2 accounts having the same code, will have the same field. Do we want them to have the tree duplicated? I guess not. So that's an implementation detail. But presumably we could. I mean, this is already what we do with storage. We store the storage tree outside of the account tree. So we could do the same thing with the code and not duplicate the data. But yeah, that's the general idea. Yeah, so just pressing on the differences, it will be an MPT tree. It is a new subtree, so not everything is spread over the main tree like we do in Vercel. And there's the question of the version which is currently in the tree. If it's the question is whether it's RLP encoded or not, and which encoding it's going to be. If it's RLP encoded and the version is 0, and it's encoded, if the encoded is to just write a 0 instead of a 0x80, then effectively there would be nothing in the tree at that specific key, and that would mean that until we start getting accounts with version 1, the key is effectively missing from the tree. So I think that would be a good compromise there. But yeah, I'm open for I'm open for comments on every aspect of the EIP, of course. But yeah, if you have an opinion about the encoding of the version, please let me know. And is there a new question by Karim? How will the code be shared during sync? I mean, it's exactly like we would share it for what's that called? For the storage trees. So we just add. It's just a new tree. We have to recompute the root. So I guess we would have to add either some kind of message, but at the same time, not really, because we can use the same thing as the storage tree. It's just a different root. So
my question is, do we want to share as today, just share all of the code and by code hash, and we recreate the MPT locally, or do we want to share each chunk one by one and we recreate? Yeah, because if we, for example, if you have a flat DB, just sharing all of the code, it's maybe better.
I'd say as long as the code limit hasn't changed, but of course this is a change. One of the advantages of the sought after advantages of going for this approach is that you can remove the maximum code size limit, but as long as it remains at 24 kilobytes, there's no reason to change the way we do it. So indeed, like we could just get the code, rehash it. It's not going to be that much. And then recompute it. I think if we start having code sizes of several megabytes, we might want to, and probably before that, we might want to just do it exactly like I described and like we do for storage trees. Namely, that no, we're gonna get the code like chunk by chunk, and then rehash everything in the end. So I guess there's going to need to be in the future some evolution of SnapSync, but currently it's not really necessary.
Good. Are there other questions? Guillaume, are you at the last slide of your presentation? Or
yes, sorry, that was the end of it. So just have a look, please.
thanks. So to kind of recap how much closer this gets us to the end goal. So one of the advantages is that, well, we then have the actual code in the state, but is it also about kind of showcasing that we can make a transition happen? And do you foresee the buy-in from the community as easier for this smaller scope EIP rather than for a full state transition? Or you mentioned that this will make it much easier for us in the end, and I'm wondering why.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first, there are several ways of getting buy-in, or at least there are several ways that I think this will get buy-in for further updates. The first one is indeed there's some irrational fear that the transition is too complex. I think, Karim, I actually am not sure if Tanishq has finished with the no, yeah, you haven't. but Karim has done it, Geth has done it. So we know it's pretty safe. There's a lot of influencers that think that we don't that is too risky, too complex, too etc etc. So I think if we can come up with a first smaller scoped transition and prove that everything is fine, that should help people realize that how simple and really fairly safe that thing is. Also prove that it's well tested and that we can go with it. The second reason I think it's a good argument for stateless is that it's solving the problem of the prover killers, for which the community, okay, some people in the community are extremely excited about real-time proving, and even though I'm quite skeptical we can achieve it in the next years, at least we're removing a hurdle by doing this, and based on this, proving that we brought real-time proving closer, we can also make the argument that binary trees, or even once again Verkle, if we can find a post-quantum way to do it, would be a further advantage, and get people a lot more like have a lot less qualms about this whole transition.
Good, good. And if we were to answer the question of what are the tangible benefits that this provides without considering things further down the line, what would you say is the best way to convey that?
Right. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to reformulate what I said, but it's really that you have a simple and well thought out way to introduce to remove the code size limit. You have a way to only create some witnesses where you only load the chunk of code that you need. So like I said, you can expand the code size limit, maybe not indefinitely, but by a lot, as long as you only add what you actually need for execution in your witnesses, and it's much smaller. The other reason for doing this is that it effectively solves, like I said, the prover killer. So right now you have a very cheap way of killing provers by just doing X code size on very large contracts. And what will happen is that the zkVM needs to load the entire contract and hash it. And that's a huge performance hit that they take when they have to do this. It's very cheap to do. It's very difficult to prove. And in the past, it has taken down the provers, like crashes, or some of them took 30 minutes to prove a block. Some of them just completely died. So that's not. I would say these are the two tangible benefits. It brings zk closer, safe zk closer, and yeah, code size limits can be removed or significantly expanded.
Great, thanks. Awesome. Any other comments or questions on this EIP 2926, or should we move on to our fourth point? All right, let's move on. So the next one is I'll lead it. It's about the Stateless Summit. So long story short, I prepared a pitch and a Google Forms survey that we will be sending out to teams that could have an interest in a Stateless Summit. So the teams that are in scope would be a lot of tooling teams, for example, like our RPC providers, like wallets, pieces of tooling like that, like Tenderly, or things like that. And I have a list on the Google Doc that some of you have seen. And the idea would be to gather interest in a potential stateless summit, and not only interest as participants, but also what the topics would be interesting for people, both on like statelessness and state expiry, and also gather interest for people who want to present something or maybe lead discussions. So initially, we were kind of scoping that as interest for Buenos Aires Dev Connect Stateless Summit. We want to make it so that it's not mapped to that specific event. So we'll just send out the survey, and we can ask in that survey if people are going to go to Dev Connect, but it's not going to be like mapped to that specifically. So yeah, Guillaume, I notice you're still presenting in case you're not aware.
Sorry, I just realized, but I have something to present afterward. But sorry for
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, no worries. So that's it. There's been some comments on it, but it seemed like people were fine with the wording and with the survey itself. So I'll be putting that into like clean form today and sending it out this week to the list of themes. So feel free, if you have any contacts or people you would know would be interested, just ping me and I'll be happy to like include them in that sending out. There is an open question about whether or not we want to do this at DEF Connect Buenos Aires. From what we've heard, it seems like the focus of DEF Connect is going to be more app focus and less core dev focus. So and from judging different people in the Telegram chat, it seems like there's not much interest in going there. Would you say that's accurate, Guillaume?
This is actually yeah, it's kind of accurate. So people might not be aware of it yet. I mean, I'm only aware of it for sure since last Friday. They are going to make Dev Connect really about apps. So this seems to be like the final decision. They were toying with the idea for a while. Now they're going to really make it about apps, which is okay, a good thing. Simply, you have to recognize that Argentina, for most developers, Argentina is really far. And so the early interest, like we try to gauge for early interest, and the feedback has been that indeed, if there's no protocol development, people are not going to bother going to Argentina. Like I said, it's really far. So what we would be maybe doing is either, if there's enough interest, like since Gabriel said we're going to send out the form and see what comes back, either we make it very app focused, or we make the Stateless Summit at a different time, somewhere where there will be more protocol devs. The one place like now is HCC in Cannes next year, which should be in March, so it's not too far off from now. But yeah, like there's no decision as to when this would happen. Currently, we would like to see if there's going to be enough people going to Buenos Aires to learn this, but from what I gather, there's not that much interest. So if you are interested, please let us know. If you're interested in going to Buenos Aires and feel like you would like to go to a Stateless Summit, we want to hear from you.
Yep, exactly. Thanks for that. So yeah, I'll be sharing the final versions of all these things in the chat this week. We can tweak the final wording and questioning to have more or less focus on Dev Connect. But yeah, please, like this is the time to reach out so that we don't crystallize a decision that people might be unhappy with. So this is your chance to speak out, either like right now or this week in the chat. So yeah, I think that's all for the Stateless Summit, unless someone has anything to mention. Cool. Sounds like that's it. We're at our last point of the call. Guillaume, at the beginning of the call, you mentioned that you had some documentation regarding testing to share. So the mic is yours.
Yeah. So I created this page for binary trees. So I shared it with Karim. It's pretty simple. I want to keep expanding it. For example, account plus storage. The account plus storage section is empty right now. And but yeah, sorry. So it's incomplete, but at least we have some tests that you can verify. You get the same results. So I'm going to share it just now. I don't know if I forgot which link. Can I just yes, right, copy. That's it. So I'm going to share it in the chat. If you have any comments. Or if you want to implement the binary trees, try to use this, right? So we have the input, so you insert at that key and you insert that value at that key, and we give you the root hash. It's a bit incomplete, but we also make a representation of the final tree, so you can compare the structure to make sure you, at least conceptually, you agree with what's being displayed. We only do it for some of the trees, but yeah, that needs to be completed. But yeah, so for your information, there's this page that exists. If you want to, like, I'm especially thinking of Tanish because I don't think anybody else is looking at it, is looking at the implementation right now. But yeah, if you want to implement it, or maybe also Gabriel, if you want to do it in JavaScript, yeah, if you want to make sure we all agree before joining the testnet, that's a good starting point.
Cool. Thanks for that. Any questions? What regards to what Guillaume is showing? All right, thanks. And I just see you shared the link in the chat. Perfect. We'll make a note of that. All right. We still have a little bit of time before the time closes, but there is nothing forcing us to go all the way to the end. So I would close this down unless someone would like to take that opportunity to discuss something relevant. All right, nice. We're finishing early then, it sounds like. So thanks again, everyone. That was the Implementers Calls number 40. I'll be sharing the summary of the call, and we'll be sending out some tweets later this week. Thanks for attending, and nice to see some of the work, particularly like congrats on all the testing progressing, the bloatnet, Besu being able to lead that testnet. That's great. Nice job, everyone.
And thanks for leading the call again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you are welcome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.